Hi everyone. Just want to begin by saying that 100% of any money we make on this video is being donated to two great organizations helping out with the wildfire disaster relief here in LA. They are It's Bigger Than Us and LA Dream Center. So just want you all to be aware.
Yes.
We're doing that.
Yes.
It's been a week.
Oh my God, yes it has.
As you know, we're in LA right now, and the wildfires, I'm sure you're well aware, are destroying a lot of the city. Today is the day that our book releases, and that was originally going to be a day of like fun, celebration, yay.
Yeah.
Instead, we're just like sad for all the people that are being so badly affected by this.
Shane and I decided that we are going to donate all the proceeds that we get from any copies of our book ordered this week to the organizations that Shane already mentioned.
Yes.
So if you order our book this week, that is where we will be sending the money. And for this video, we were like, what can we do for this video?
How can we raise some money?
How can we raise some money? Yeah. So we're going to be reading the first chapter of the book and then a snippet of a chapter that comes later. As you know, there are a bunch of other couples featured in this book, and one of them you probably know, Cole and Charisma. So we're going to read just the beginning of their chapter.
Yes. So sit back and relax.
Yes.
As the authors and narrators of Interabled by Shane and Hannah Burcaw
Read to you.
And please watch this video 100 times.
Yeah.
So that we earn more AdSense and then we can donate more to these great organizations.
Yes.
Are you just read it, or am I going to read?
It's up to you. I was about to say, do you want me to begin?
Why don't you read until you get tired and then I'll read
I don't
some.
get tired, so I'll just switch off with you. Chapter 1. Oh, also, we narrated the audiobook, if you're not aware, so if you like this, go and get the audiobook. Chapter 1. Shane and Hannah. Speaking tour.
Listen to that audiobook voice.
The nightmare began in the same place that most nightmares begin. A dilapidated Denny's restaurant on the shoulder of an empty highway in southern Iowa. Hannah and I sat in our accessible Ford Explorer in the deserted parking lot with the heater blasting full force, trying to decide if eating here was worth the inevitable food poisoning.
Sorry, Denny's.
Hannah pulled up Google on her phone. Yeah, I guess Denny's isn't going to sponsor us. The fine dining establishment that crumbled before us had 2 one-star reviews. Number 1, Bo Tuttle said, "Waitress Deanne kicked out me and Thomas because she's still angry about the fight we started at her birthday party 3 months ago." Number 2, Angry Driver 59 said, "No meatloaf on Meatloaf Monday. Garbage." We'd been on the road for 8 hours so far, on our way to the first stop of a 2-week speaking tour. It was growing darker by the second, and we were a terrible mixture of tired and hungry. So rather than heading farther down the road in search of a non-existent better option, we turned the car off and went inside. The lobby greeted us with flashing lights and carnival jingles coming from 2 claw arm arcade games, one of which had no prizes inside it. Once seated at our sticky table, I spilled the beans on a secret that I'd been keeping all day.
There's something we need to talk about, I said. I don't blame Hannah for the alarm that immediately fell upon her face. This was the classic opening to every breakup conversation in history, and I delivered it with all the enthusiasm of a wilting flower. We had been dating for over 3 years at this point, and had gotten engaged just a few months before this moment. We were still riding a joyous honeymoon phase that didn't show any signs of slowing down, and our venture into YouTube was exploding into all kinds of exciting adventures, like this very speaking tour. The point being, we were both extremely happy together, so it would have been very unexpected to suddenly have a difficult relationship conversation out of the blue. Go ahead.
My big reveal had nothing to do with our status as a couple, so I'd like to publicly apologize to my baby dearest for startling her like that. She's rolling her eyes as we type and telling me this paragraph won't make it into the final book. I think I'm getting sick. My throat has been getting more and more sore all day. I thought it would go away, but now my nose is getting stuffy and my head hurts. It's definitely a cold. I rushed through my confession like a guilt-ridden criminal admitting to a quadruple homicide. "Holy shit," Hannah said. "Don't scare me like that. I thought something was actually wrong." "Something is actually wrong. I'm getting sick and we are about to start a speaking tour." A waitress came to our table to take our order. Hannah got the spaghetti and meatball dinner, figuring it would be pretty hard to botch such a simple meal. I, on the other hand, defied all logic and reason and ordered the Atlantic salmon with Cajun cream sauce and garlic mashed potatoes, the dish least likely to go down nicely with a rapidly swelling throat.
I can't pass up salmon.
The waitress warned us that it might take a bit as their chef was backed up. We looked around at the restaurant full of empty tables. We returned to our conversation. Hannah said, "You've been getting over illnesses fast lately. We'll get you some vitamin C tablets and hope for the best." She leaned over and nuzzled her face into my neck. Hannah was right. Since I started the breakthrough Spinraza treatments in August 2017, my lung function and ability to cough had drastically improved. A few years earlier, a common cold would threaten to put me in the hospital and take months to recover from. Now, with my mega-strength monster cough, I was overcoming illnesses like it was my job. Granted, I didn't get sick very often, but when I did, I no longer entered into existential terror that it was about to be my last illness ever. That said, respiratory infections still posed a risk, especially when they occurred in the midst of a public speaking tour. As the signs of a coming cold had increased throughout the day, I began to worry about my ability to perform the 9 speaking engagements that we had on our schedule. Would you like to read a bit?
Sure. Your voice is just so beautiful. Our food arrived, and as expected, my salmon was cold, and the Cajun sauce tasted like they scraped out the inside of a truck that once carried peppers across the country. I nibbled at it for the calories, but my mind was largely focused on getting to bed, with the hope that I'd wake up feeling miraculously cured. Hannah devoured her spaghetti and meatballs. To this day, she swears it was one of the best meals she's ever eaten. She's always like, "We should go to Denny's." I'm like,
They can sponsor me. I
there's
loved
a
it.
million other options. We drove a few more hours, listening to murder mystery podcasts to keep ourselves awake. Along the way, my throat pain worsened significantly. I wondered if Hannah was feeling at all nervous about the days to follow. This trip took place at the very beginning of our foray into public speaking as a duo. We had already performed a handful of talks together, and each one filled her with full-body anxiety that climaxed about 2 minutes before we walked out onto the stage. Once we began, though, the nerves melted away and she felt more comfortable. We were developing our rhythm as speaking partners, so the upcoming talks were supposed to be a continuation of that. But now that I was tossing the monkey wrench of my blossoming illness into the mix, it seemed inevitable that Hannah would feel unsettled about adapting if I wasn't able to hold up my end of the presentations.
Rather than stew in my own silent worries about it, I asked her, "So if this turns into a fever and constant hacking, what are we going to do about the talks?" Hannah shrugged. "I can always just say your parts of the presentation, and the audience will understand if you need to cough." Like always, we turned our tough situation into a joke. I said, "I'm imagining an hour-long presentation where you're speaking in the first person about living with spinal muscular atrophy, and I'm just sitting next to you gargling my phlegm into the microphone." Hannah mimicked this scene. "My name is Hannah." Here she switched to a whiny baby tone to mock me. "And I am Shane Robert, the prettiest wheelchair boy in all the land."
That's what I sound like.
"Oh yes, you definitely need to use 2 voices throughout so the audience can follow," I said, laughing. Making fun of our approaching dilemma helped both of us feel better about it. In the hotel room later that night, we both chugged a few million milligrams of vitamin C, skipped our nightly kissy cuddle lovey session, a sign of true love, foregoing romance to keep your partner healthy, and fell into a deep sleep together. In the days and weeks and months and years ahead of us, Hannah and I would conquer countless difficult moments together. We would also experience myriad moments of immense joy. We'd get married, travel the world, and become full-time content creators with a mission to improve the way society understands disability. We'd even start our journey toward becoming parents together. Through it all, our dynamics of mutual support, affectionate bickering and teasing, and sarcastic humor would be foundational to the strength of our relationship. One of the most unexpected and rewarding experiences we would share was the writing of this very book. We didn't realize it yet, but we were going to meet and spend time with so many wonderful couples to learn about their love stories. When we embarked on this project, we expected to tell some interesting stories about relationships that involve disability. We wanted to highlight the beautiful variety of interabled relationships. That certainly happened, as you'll soon read. But we also learned that our own relationship was not wildly unique. In fact, we confirmed our long-held belief that the features of a strong, healthy, passionate love are identical for relationships that involve disability and those that do not. In the pages ahead, we'll be exploring those features, both through the couples we've interviewed and through our own love story. Chapter 2.
Chapter 1.
That was Chapter 1, everybody. And now we will read a bit of the colon charisma chapter.
Beautifully read, Hannah.
And I want to say about that all of these other chapters about other couples, like, don't typically include us. Like, a lot of them are written, like, as a story, third person.
Yeah.
This one's different because Cole and Charisma, obviously, we're friends with them. So this is really more about, like, our friendship with Cole and Charisma and the dynamics of, like, the different disabilities that Shade and Cole have. So this is not, like...
We're not profiling them.
Exactly, because you can just go to their YouTube channel and, like, hear about how they met. So we don't need to tell that story. But this is about basically how we met.
How we met and how the four of us fell in love.
Yeah, surprise. Okay.
All right, so we're just going to read, like, half of this one. And then we're going to leave you with a bit of a cliffhanger about the rest of it.
Yep. Chapter 16. Cole and Charisma. 2 disabled men get stranded on a boat while their wives get lost in Mexico. No, it's not the setup to a bad joke, but rather an unforgettable experience we shared with our great interabled friends Cole and Charisma. But before we get to the mayhem, we should probably give some backstory. Many of you are probably familiar with the power duo that is C&C. Sorry guys, as your besties, we're legally entitled to use this abbreviation out of laziness. For those of you who haven't heard of them, Cole is a C5, C6 quadriplegic who uses a wheelchair, and Charisma is his non-disabled wife. Together, like us, they run a prominent YouTube channel about their life and relationship. Obviously, the 2 most popular interabled YouTube couples must be best friends in real life, right? C&C were living in Virginia when they began their channel, just a few weeks before Hannah and I started our channel in spring 2018. I remember doing some research several weeks into our YouTube journey, looking for anyone else on the platform making similar content. I quickly found C&C's page, and along with Hannah, began to watch everything they posted. It was like looking at our own shimmery reflections in a pond, simultaneously identical, yet different. So many of their experiences matched our own. Funny caregiving stories, encounters with ableism in public, and lots of love and adventure and humor in every video. At the same time, because Cole's disability is different from mine, our experiences also diverged in many instances as well. Do you want to read any of this?
I love you reading.
Okay. Cole acquired his injury in his teens, whereas I have lived with mine throughout my life. Cole's body size is that of your average adult in his 20s, whereas I am a teensy tiny little cutie pie.
True.
Cole smells like a wet sock, whereas I smell like a flourishing garden of delectable delights. Just kidding, Cole smells lovely. We were living 1,000 miles apart, so we followed their various social pages. They followed us back, and we all left it at that for a while. A year later, as Hannah and I were traveling back to Pennsylvania for my charity's annual 5K fundraiser, we received a message from C&C. They were going to drive up to the event so that we could meet in person. Our initial meeting was a pretty unusual kickoff to becoming best friends. On the day of the 5K, there was a series of unfortunate misunderstandings between the 4 of us that we laugh about today, but which derailed our first meeting. For instance, Hannah was feeling sort of shy when we met, as she often does around strangers. C&C interpreted her shyness as disinterest and figured she didn't like them for some reason. Later, Cole made a passing remark about the severity of his disability, which I misinterpreted as a purposeful insult directed at my own disability. The vibes were just off, as the youth say. Because of this awkward start, and in part due to the simple impracticality of our geographical distance, we didn't speak to C&C very often over the next 3 years. The friendship, it seemed, was destined to be nothing more than an acquaintanceship. It wasn't until Hannah and I started spending our winters in Los Angeles, where C&C had subsequently moved, that the 4 of us gave our squandered friendship another try. One night, over drinks at their apartment, we found ourselves in an emotionally charged heart-to-heart. We decided to rip off the band-aids of our past and lay everything on the table, all our qualms and insecurities and fears. And we will leave it at that.
Find out what happened.
Find out what happens.
Both that night and on the boat.
Oh yes, we head back to the boat then, of course.
That was beautifully read, Hannah.
Thank you, you too.
There are so many beautiful love stories in this book, and we really hope that you will check it out. Once again, we are donating all of the profits of our book sales this week, as well as this video, to two great organizations doing disaster relief here in Los Angeles. We'll put reminders about that in the where to buy the book down below.
Yes.
Our love goes out to everyone in Los Angeles who has been affected by these fires. Stay safe, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.